There is a day coming this week, probably in just a few days, where if you touch money, you will block every blessing that was already moving toward you. And most of you watching right now are going to do it anyway, because nobody ever told you this. I am Rabbi, and what I am about to share with you has been locked inside the Talmud and the Kabbalah for over 3,000 years. Wealthy Jewish families have quietly passed this down from generation to generation. They don't talk about it openly. They don't post it on the internet. They live by it in silence while the rest of the world grinds itself to dust, wondering why nothing ever works. This is not a religious lecture. This is a spiritual law. And spiritual laws do not care whether you believe in them or not. Gravity does not ask your opinion. Neither does this. By the time this video ends, you will know exactly which day of the week you must never touch money. Why ignoring this law is silently draining your finances every single week, and the precise step-by-step method that activates ancient protection so that wealth begins flowing toward you instead of away from you. There is one thing I will share near the end of this video that I held back for years because I wasn't sure the world was ready for it. It changed my life so completely that when it first happened, I sat in my chair for 10 minutes unable to speak. Stay with me until the end, because that is the peace most people never reach, and it is the peace that changes everything. Let me begin with something personal, because I think you deserve to know who you are learning from before you decide whether to trust this. I did not read about these principles in a book. I did not stumble onto them through a podcast. I inherited them. My grandfather was a Talmudic scholar in Jerusalem. I grew up in a home where Torah was not studied for an hour on Saturday morning and then forgotten. It was lived every single day, in every decision, including every financial decision. Every Friday evening before Shabbat, my grandfather would gather us in his study. The room was warm and heavy with the smell of old books and melting candle wax. He would open the Talmud, run his fingers across the ancient Aramaic text, and he would teach us things. Not the things you hear in a synagogue on a typical Shabbat, the deeper things. The things that powerful families have always known and rarely spoken about outside their walls. When I was 17 years old, after everyone else had gone to bed one Friday night, he pulled me aside. He looked directly into my eyes, and he said something I have spent my entire adult life unpacking. He said, "The reason our family has never truly struggled for money, even during the worst times, is because we understand one principle that almost the entire world ignores." He said that Shabbat, the Sabbath, is not simply a day of rest. It is a spiritual portal. It is the one day in the entire week when heaven opens and actively pours blessing into the world. But, and this is the part that most people miss entirely, that blessing only lands on those who know how to receive it. And one of the most critical ways to receive it is to never, under any circumstance, touch money on that day. Not to spend it, not to count it, not to stress over it, not even to think about it. He said, when you rest from money on the Sabbath, God works on your finances in ways that you cannot see and could not arrange yourself. I was 17. I nodded. I thought I understood. I did not understand at all. Understanding came 11 years later. I was 28 years old, living in New York, trying to build a business from nothing. I was working 14-hour days. I was taking calls on Sundays. I was sending emails at midnight. I was doing everything the business world told me to do, everything the hustle culture said was required. And I was falling behind. Every month was harder than the one before. Clients would commit and then disappear. Opportunities would get close enough to touch and then collapse. Money came in and immediately left for reasons I could not fully explain. I was not being reckless. I was not spending foolishly. The money simply would not stay. I was exhausted in a way that sleep could not fix, and I was starting to lose something more dangerous than money. I was starting to lose faith. One Thursday night, I sat in my apartment staring at a stack of bills, and my grandfather's voice came back to me. Not as a memory, more like a warning. That Friday evening, I did something I had not done in years. I closed my work early. I turned my phone off completely. I took my wallet and I put it in a drawer in my bedroom closet. And for 25 hours, I did not touch it. I observed Shabbat the way he taught me. I lit candles. I ate a proper meal. I prayed. I read. I rested. And for 25 hours, I did not think about money. Not because I forced myself not to, but because something in that space made it easier to let go. I slept better that night than I had in months. Monday morning, my phone rang. It was a client I had spoken to months earlier, someone I had mentally written off. He said, and I remember this almost word for word, "Rabbi, I do not know what happened, but over the weekend I could not stop thinking about you. I want to move forward." The contract he signed that week was worth more than I had earned in the previous 6 months combined. Now, I want to be careful here, because I am not standing in front of you telling you that one Shabbat will make you rich. That is not what I am saying. What I am saying is that this was the moment I understood with my entire being that my grandfather was not speaking philosophy. He was speaking law, spiritual law. And on that Monday morning, I made a decision I have never reversed. I have not touched money on Shabbat since that day. And I am not here to tell you my life became easy. I am here to tell you my life became aligned. And alignment is worth more than ease. Before I go any further, I want to ask you something directly. If what I am sharing is landing with you, if something inside you is saying, "This is real, this is what I have been missing," then do me one simple thing right now. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. I put out new teachings every single week, ancient wisdom from the Torah and Kabbalah that most rabbis will not speak about publicly. Wisdom about wealth, about protection, about spiritual law. If you are here for that, subscribe now so you never miss it. Welcome to the family. Now let me address something, because I know there are people watching this right now who are thinking, "Rabbi, I am not Jewish. This is not my tradition. How does any of this apply to me?" And that is exactly the right question to ask. Here is the answer. The Sabbath was not invented by Jewish people. It was established by God at the moment of creation itself. The Torah says that in 6 days the world was created, and on the 7th day God rested. That rest was not because God was tired. God does not get tired. That rest was to establish a cosmic principle, a spiritual rhythm built into the fabric of existence itself. 6 days of action, 1 day of cessation. 6 days of doing, 1 day of being. That cycle is not Jewish. That cycle is universal. It governs the flow of energy in the world the same way the tides govern the ocean, whether you believe in them or not. The Zohar, which is the foundational text of Kabbalah, teaches something that stopped me completely when I first understood it. It says that Shabbat is the source of all blessing for the entire week. Not one of the sources, the source. Everything you receive during the 6 days of the week flows from the holiness of the 7th. Which means, if you treat the 7th day like any other day, if you use it to hustle, to grind, to stress about money, you do not just miss the rest, you cut off the pipeline. And no amount of effort during the other 6 days can replace what you lost by violating the 7th. This is why I see it constantly. People who are working harder than anyone they know, people who are disciplined, who are smart, who are doing everything right on paper, and the money still does not stay. It comes in and leaves. It slips. It dissolves into emergencies and unexpected expenses and opportunities that get close and then vanish. And they keep asking the same question. Why? Why is nothing sticking? And the answer, more times than I can count, is this: the channel is blocked. Not because they are bad people, not because they are doing something intentionally wrong, because they are unknowingly violating a spiritual law every single week, and they do not even know it exists. Let me be direct with you about the 3 lies you have been taught about money, because until you unlearn these, nothing else I share will fully take root. The first lie is that the solution to financial problems is more effort. Work harder, sleep less, grind longer. And yes, effort matters. The Talmud does not teach laziness. But the Talmud is also very clear that effort alone is not what produces wealth. The verse says, "It is the blessing of the Lord that makes rich." Blessing, not effort. You can pour effort into a blocked channel for 20 years and have almost nothing to show for it. I have watched it happen. The second lie is that better money management is the root solution. Budget more precisely. Track every dollar. Optimize your spending. Again, these things are not wrong in themselves, but if the spiritual channel is blocked, budgeting is just rearranging the furniture in a house with a broken foundation. The third lie is the most dangerous one, and it is the one almost everyone believes. It is the lie that you are in full control of your financial destiny through strategy and willpower alone. That if you just think the right thoughts and make the right moves, you can force the outcome you want. That is not how the universe works. That is not what the ancient texts teach. And deep down, if you have been trying that approach for a while, you already know it is not true. Control is an illusion, and the tighter you grip money, the more it escapes your hands. What the ancient rabbis understood, what the wealthiest Jewish families have quietly practiced for 3,000 years, is that wealth is first spiritual and then physical. You align yourself spiritually, and then physical abundance follows. You violate spiritual law, and no amount of physical effort compensates for it. Now I am going to give you the exact method. This is practical, this is step by step, and this is something you can begin this coming Friday. Pay close attention, because every detail here carries weight. This is not decoration. Every element has a specific purpose, rooted in thousands of years of Kabbalistic understanding. Shabbat begins 18 minutes before sunset on Friday evening, and ends when 3 stars are visible in the Saturday night sky, which is typically about 25 hours later. That window is your window, and within that window, your relationship with money must completely change. The first thing you need to do is prepare your mind before Shabbat even begins. On Friday afternoon, finish whatever needs to be finished. Pay the bills that are due. Answer the emails that cannot wait. Tie up every loose end you can. The goal is to walk into Shabbat with nothing hanging over your head. You want to feel free when it begins, not burdened. If you walk into Shabbat already stressed and already behind, you will spend 25 hours fighting your own mind instead of resting in trust. The second element is your wallet. Before sunset on Friday, take your wallet, your purse, your credit cards, your cash, any physical representation of your financial life, and put it in a drawer or a closet where you will not see it and will not touch it for the full 25 hours. This act is not symbolic in a casual sense. The Kabbalists teach that the physical act of separating yourself from money on Shabbat creates a genuine spiritual separation between you and the anxiety that money carries. Most people do not realize that their relationship with money is infected with fear. Fear of not having enough, fear of losing what they have, fear of the future. That fear is a form of energetic static that blocks the channel of blessing. When you physically put the money away and you say out loud as you do it, "I am releasing my grip. I trust that God will provide everything I need," you are not just making a gesture, you are making a declaration. And declarations in the spiritual realm carry enormous weight. The third element is candles. Light 2 candles 18 minutes before sunset. As you light them, say the traditional blessing. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to kindle the light of the Sabbath. Then add your own words in your own voice. God, I trust you with my finances. I trust you with my future. I let go. I receive your blessing. If you do not have candles right now, do not let that stop you. The candles matter, but the intention matters more. What you are doing with this act is marking a boundary. You are saying this hour is different from the hours before it. This day is different from the days before it. That boundary is spiritual architecture. It creates the container for blessing to fill. The fourth element is a meal. Before Shabbat ends on Saturday night, eat at least one meal that is nicer than what you would normally eat on a weekday. It does not need to be expensive. It needs to feel intentional, abundant, celebratory. The Talmud teaches that the meals of Shabbat are a taste of the world to come, a taste of a reality where there is no lack. When you eat that meal with genuine gratitude, when you sit at the table and you say thank you before you are certain of what is coming, you are telling the universe something very powerful. You are saying, I already believe in abundance. I already live there in my heart. And what you believe in your heart with enough consistency, your physical reality eventually matches. The fifth and most important element is rest. No work. No business, no emails, no shopping, including online shopping. No financial planning, no checking your bank account. No conversations about money stress. For 25 hours you simply rest. You pray, you read, you walk. You talk to people you love. You sleep. You do anything that brings genuine peace. And every single time a thought about money enters your mind, because it will, you say immediately, I trust that God is taking care of this right now. And you redirect. Not because the problem has gone away, but because you have made a decision that for these 25 hours, the problem is not yours to carry. On Saturday evening when Shabbat ends, take your wallet back in your hands and say, this week, blessing flows to me. Opportunities come to me. Money moves toward me easily and naturally because I have honored the Sabbath and aligned myself with divine law. Say it out loud. Then walk into the week with expectation, not anxiety. Expectation and anxiety are both forms of anticipation. The difference is whether you trust the source or fear the outcome. Choose trust. Now, I need to pause here and be honest with you, because this is the point in the video where I almost stopped the camera the first time I recorded this. What I'm about to tell you is the thing I held back for years. It is not a technique, it is a confession. There was a period in my 40s when I drifted. I got busy. I got distracted. I started telling myself that my work was too important, that this week was an exception, that I would get back to it next Shabbat. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, I stopped observing Shabbat the way I had been taught. I was still calling myself observant. I was still doing the rituals on the surface. But I was checking my phone. I was running numbers in my head. I was carrying the weight of money right through the middle of the Sabbath, without even fully realizing I was doing it. And over about 6 months, everything I am describing to you started reversing. The peace left. The flow of unexpected opportunities slowed and then stopped. The clarity I had always attributed to wisdom started to feel like fog. I became anxious in a way I had not been anxious since my 20s, and I spent 6 months trying to diagnose what was wrong, before I finally sat down and was honest with myself. I had abandoned the practice that was the foundation of everything else. The moment I returned to full, genuine, undivided Shabbat observance, not perfect observance, but honest observance, things shifted back. Not all at once, but steadily. The peace returned first, then the clarity, then the opportunities. And what that season of drift taught me is the most important thing I know. Knowing is not enough. Doing is everything. You can watch every video I make, read every book I write, understand every principle I teach, and if you do not actually do it, you will have nothing. The universe does not reward comprehension. It rewards alignment. I want to share something with you about what to realistically expect when you begin this practice, because I do not believe in setting people up with fantasy. Within the first 24 hours after your first Shabbat of genuinely not touching money, you will feel different, lighter. Something will have shifted in your body that you may not be able to name. Do not dismiss that. That shift is real. Within 3 to 7 days, something tangible will happen. An unexpected call, a financial surprise that you did not engineer, an opportunity that arrives from a direction you were not watching. It will be small enough that you could rationalize it away as coincidence if you choose to. I am telling you, it is not coincidence. It is the spiritual law beginning to respond. Within 30 days of consistent weekly practice, the trajectory of your financial life will begin to visibly change. Old patterns will crack. New doors will appear. Not because you found the right strategy, because you aligned yourself with an ancient rhythm that has been governing abundance since the beginning of creation. I have watched this happen with a woman in her 50s who was buried in credit card debt. 2 months after she began observing Shabbat, she received an inheritance from a relative she had barely known existed. I have watched it happen with a young man in his 20s who could not find work for months. 3 weeks after he began resting on the Sabbath, the company he had applied to 6 months earlier and mentally written off called him back with an offer. I have watched a business owner on the verge of closing his doors commit to this practice. The following week, his biggest client, who had gone completely silent, returned with a contract that saved everything. They did not change their skills. They did not find a new strategy. They aligned themselves with the law that was already operating, and the law responded. Right now, I want to ask you to do something. If this teaching has opened something in you, if you can feel that this is real, leave a comment below this video and write one word, Shabbat. That is it. Just that one word. I read every comment personally, and there is something powerful about making a public declaration, about saying out loud in a space where others can witness it, I am committing to this. The ancient rabbis understood the power of spoken declaration. When you write that word, you are not just leaving a comment, you are planting something. Now I want to address the warnings directly because I refuse to teach this without them. This is not a trick. This is not a formula you run to extract money from the universe. Warning number 1, your intention must be pure. The Talmud says clearly that God knows the heart. If you observe Shabbat with a greedy heart, if you do it as a transaction, if your motivation is to manipulate the divine into delivering wealth, it will not work. It may actively work against you. This practice is about trust. It is about genuinely releasing control for 25 hours and meaning it. When your intention is pure, the blessing that comes is clean. It does not carry hidden costs. Warning number 2, do not break Shabbat once you have committed to it. If you put your wallet in the drawer and then an hour later you are checking your bank account on your phone, you have broken the spiritual seal. You have told the universe that you did not actually mean what you said. Shabbat requires follow-through. The ancient rabbis were clear about this. You cannot half observe it and receive full results. Warning number 3, the wealth that comes through this practice is meant to flow. It is meant to bless you and through you to bless others. If you receive abundance and close your fist around it, if you accumulate without generosity, you will find the flow begins to slow again. The same spiritual law that brings blessing also governs what you do with the blessing once it arrives. The world right now is louder and faster and more financially terrifying than perhaps any time in recent memory. The economy is unstable. costs are rising, jobs feel less certain, and every algorithm on every platform is designed to keep you in a constant state of anxiety about what you have and what you might lose. In the middle of all of that noise, God is saying the same thing He has been saying for 3,000 years. Stop, rest, trust me. The families who have observed this practice through every economic collapse in history, through wars and exiles and disasters that would have destroyed any civilization without deep roots, those families survived and rebuilt because they were anchored to something that no economic system can touch. They were anchored to the Creator, and that anchor held when everything else was swept away. If you have a friend who is struggling right now, someone who is exhausted, someone who has been grinding and getting nowhere, someone who has started to lose hope, share this video with them today. Not tomorrow, today. You do not know what day it is in their life. You do not know how close they are to a decision they cannot reverse. This video could be exactly the thing they needed to hear. Share it now. You now have everything you need to begin. You know which day, you know why, you know the exact method, you know what to expect and what to guard against. The knowledge is in your hands. The only question that remains is whether you will use it. The Talmud teaches that God helps those who take the step, not those who plan the step, not those who understand the step, those who take it. This Friday is coming whether you are ready or not. Shabbat will begin at sunset whether you observe it or not. The blessing will be poured out whether you position yourself to receive it or not. The only variable is you. Begin this Friday. Light the candles. Put the wallet in the drawer. Rest from money for 25 hours. Trust the Creator and watch what happens. You are not here by accident. You found this video because something in you was ready to receive this. Honor that. Do not let this be one more thing you watched and forgot. Let this be the week everything starts to shift. May you be blessed with abundance that flows without striving. May you be blessed with peace that holds even in the middle of uncertainty. May you be blessed with clarity that cuts through confusion. May you be blessed with protection over everything you have built and everything that is still coming. May you be blessed with wisdom to receive what is given with an open hand and a generous heart. Shalom.